Okay, so I have not posted a video in a very, very long time. That's my bad. There's a very good explanation as to why. No, not really. I don't know. I was working on this one video that I really wanted to do really well, and then I recorded it, and then I hated what I recorded. And so I rewrote the script, and I recorded again, and then I still really hated it.
What a piece of junk!
Yeah, so that's kind of what happened. I've been just trying to fix this one video, and then every time I go to edit it, as I'm editing it, I realize I hate what I recorded, so I had to redo it, and so I just decided I'm gonna do something else in the meantime, because it's been like 3 months since I've posted something, and one of you made me realize that it kind of looks like I just quit YouTube for good, because the last thing I posted was my review of Mission Impossible 8, and I was very disappointed and very sad. Everything about this movie just sucked. So post that, and then I just drop off YouTube for like 3 months. Yeah, it kind of looks like I rage quit or something. I didn't. I'm still here. But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna finally post something because it's been a while. It's been a minute. Hi. How have you guys been? I've been great. No, I haven't. I can't get this one video done right. It's the worst. So this video is gonna be probably not my best video. It's gonna be pretty messy. It's gonna be pretty simple, pretty short maybe. This is my script. I wrote it down on this piece of paper just randomly, really quickly. This is not how I normally do it. I'm usually very sophisticated and organized, but this is how we're doing it this time because I just really want to post something. It's been too long. And I'm going to do just a quick Superman review because, man, it's September and it came out in July. What am I doing?
What am I doing?
I suck at YouTube. Okay, let me look at my script. Oh yeah, disclaimer, real quick. I actually have not seen the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. I never saw those completely. I can remember a little bit about them from when I was younger and my family watched them. I was like, I don't know, 6 or 7, and I remembered seeing some scenes. Like, I do remember watching the scene where he, reverses time by making the globe spin in reverse. Physics, science, smart. Anyways, I never really cared to watch them again, though, because I feel the same way about them that I do the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, which I just tried watching the Tobey Maguire ones recently, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't handle it. Why, you may ask? Because they're not focused on what I would want the story to focus on. I mean, they're superhero stories, and they both seem to just really focus on relationship drama and the romantic interest of the movie, and like that's the story that they want to focus on rather than this superhero doing superhero stuff. Like the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie, it's really like an MJ movie. I feel like, where is Spider-Man? Nobody knows, but here's MJ. Let's just watch her. Nobody cares about that. So that was my problem with Superman, the Christopher Reeve version, was I feel like there was way too much drama with him and Lois Lane, and the main focus seemed to just be about him keeping his identity secret. So it wasn't really about him. Like, obviously they had him being a superhero and doing superhero things, but it seemed like what they really wanted to focus on was him protecting his secret identity and Lois Lane trying to figure it out. And that's what, I may be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that seemed to be like the majority of the movie, and I did not care for it. So that was my problem with the Christopher Reeve movie, was it was too much Lois Lane, too much secret identity stuff, not enough Superman being Superman. And then I did see, however, the Man of Steel movie when that first came out. I didn't remember it very well when it came out. And then I just tried watching it again like a year ago, and what?
What? What's going on?
That movie is so bad. I kid you not. I couldn't make it past like 30 minutes. That scene where he saves the bus full of kids, and then he goes back home, and his dad is like, "You shouldn't have done that."
I beg your pardon?
I could not believe what I was seeing. I do not remember that the first time I saw it, but it was so bad. And then he lets his dad die? Really? Superman is just like, you know what, Dad? Yes, I will let you die because you really care about keeping my identity secret. Again, too much on keeping his identity secret, not even that, keeping his powers secret to everybody, never using his superhero powers, letting his dad die just to, like, Superman would not do that, okay? Okay, so I'm just here editing this video, and I was gonna add in this scene where his dad dies because it's just so ridiculous. I was gonna add just like the video of it, but I'm like watching the scene on YouTube and I forgot just how bad it really is. I feel like I've tried to block this movie out of my head because it's so terrible. It's the scene where Superman is in the truck with his parents and they're talking about what Clark wants to do with his life, kind of like Clark is saying, I want to do more, because his dad's like, don't use your powers, and Clark obviously doesn't want to hide his powers, he wants to do stuff with it, but instead of talking about it in a mature way, Clark is so whiny. Oh my gosh, and then he's so mean to his dad too. He's like, you're not my real dad.
Farming for 5 generations, Clark.
Your family, not mine. I don't even know why I'm listening to you. You're not my dad.
He's a complete wimp.
What? Oh my gosh, what is with this like weird attitude, Clark? Why is your dad lame? Why are you lame? How did this movie get made? This one is so bad. This is not how Superman is supposed to be. I'm sorry if you are a really big Man of Steel fan, but this is just terrible. So that was my issue with Man of Steel, is they were again focusing too much on keeping it a secret and too much on this weird moral dilemma of should he use his powers to save people. That, to me, just is not what the Superman story should focus on. We should not be focusing on if he should keep his powers a secret. What? Why are we using the Superman movie to explore that problem? That is so dumb. This is not gonna be my best video, which I already said. So if it sucks, I told you it was gonna suck. Don't really get me started on Man of Steel. That movie is garbage. This Superman movie was really good, and I want to just list the things that I really enjoyed about this movie, and specifically the things that I think made it a good Superman story. First thing is that Superman was good. Superman's character was the one thing that I really cared about for this movie. I didn't really care if the plot was kind of maybe goofy or dumb. I didn't really care if there were plot holes. I didn't care if Lois Lane was still annoying, because she's always been pretty annoying in my opinion. I didn't care if Lex Luthor was lame. I didn't really care about anything except for the Superman character. I just wanted them to do his character justice, and everything else after that didn't really matter. And in this movie, I feel like they really nailed Superman's character. And I felt that I knew that it would be a very good Superman character from the very beginning. After he lost his fight and he went to his Fortress of Solitude to heal, as he was leaving to go back to the fight, and I thought that was cool that he immediately was like, nope, gotta get back to the fight. It was all the things that he was saying and like the way he was saying it that made me feel like this is Superman. This is gonna be the Superman.
No can do, 4. I gotta get back to the fray.
What the hey, dude?
Darn it, I can be such a jerk sometimes.
The very first scene with Superman, I was like, this is Superman. They're doing a really good job so far. Just that first little scene with him and the funny things that he was saying, from that I could get that this was going to be a very good, kind, modest, and wholesome Superman. And they kept the character very consistent throughout the whole movie. They didn't do anything at the end where they undercut all of this by having him curse or something, like they did with Captain America in Age of Ultron. And they didn't do anything like in Man of Steel. There's like this one scene where he ran into some guy who was being a jerk, and in retaliation, he totaled the guy's truck. Oh. It's B-Reel time. You guys are all gonna be in my B-Reel. You look great. Anyway, they didn't do anything like that where he used his powers to, in my opinion, bully the bullies. If you saw that movie, he totally destroyed the guy's truck, and that semi-truck was his livelihood. Like, sure, the guy was a jerk. He wasn't a good guy, but Superman does not do that kind of thing. The Man of Steel movie was just very dark, in my opinion, and not very hopeful, and I feel like Superman is supposed to be about hope. And in Man of Steel, sure, they say, oh, the symbol stands for hope. But I don't really feel like the story itself had that at its core. And I feel like that's what Superman is supposed to be. He's supposed to be a good person, doing good things, creating hope in the world, and inspiring others to do good things. And that's what this 2025 Superman movie did. I loved the part where he wasn't able to make it to that little boy who was holding up the flag calling for Superman's help. And the first time I watched it, I was kind of bothered that he wasn't able to make it because he had to go save the city that was, being torn apart. And so I was really bothered that he couldn't make it. And then I watched it a second time. Yes, I went and watched it a second time. It was that good. And I realized that, yes, he wasn't able to make it, but the other superheroes, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, they saw that flag that the little boy was holding that had the Superman flag on it, and they were inspired by Superman to go help them. So that was even better, in my opinion, that Superman was doing good and he was inspiring others to do good as well. Others that had said that they would not interfere at the beginning of the movie. They would not join in that conflict. And then Superman inspired them to go do that. I thought that was great. And that's what the Superman character should be. So Superman's character, he was just a very good guy, a very kind guy. And then another thing is, the story here was very focused on him saving individuals. A lot of his really big heroic superhero moments were when he saved one person. And I think that was a very good way to show his character, was he wanted to save individuals. Yes, he wants to save the whole city, but he was very focused on making sure every single person was safe. And even when he was fighting that huge kaiju monster, he didn't want to hurt it. He was trying to be very careful with it. He was making sure it wasn't falling and crushing any buildings, and he was also trying to make sure he could redirect it out safely so that people would be safe, and also this monster would be safe, this giant animal. His character was done so perfectly, and he was Superman. This is exactly what I would expect Superman to be like. The second thing is that there were no mass casualties in this movie. Ever since Avengers, it's been very common and just kind of the standard in superhero movies to just have buildings collapsing and people dying in mass droves, and that's what they need to do to raise the stakes and to make you feel oh, this is serious.
Family, please, this is serious.
I am so glad that this Superman movie kind of took a step back and stepped away from that kind of setup, and instead they very intentionally showed you that people did not die. They did have buildings that were collapsing at the final battle, but they made sure to show you that the city was evacuated before all of that happened and the people were safe. Also, that one scene where Superman is doing the laser vision and he's spinning around and he's, taking down all these bad guys, they showed that those people did not die. His laser vision was probably toned down a bit to take out their weapons and stuff, but it did not kill them. In fact, they were moving and getting up after the fight. They were fine. Same thing with the Mr. Terrific fight. He was taking down all these other guys, but at the end of the scene, after the fight was over, you see everybody was moving and everybody was getting up. So yes, he took them down in a fight, but he didn't kill or seriously injure any of them. And even, the squirrel and the kaiju monster, Superman was trying to save those things as well. So he goes beyond saving humans. He wanted to save every living creature. And I thought that was great. They did kill one person. And that was a very sad scene. And that scene was taken very seriously. They did not just kill off some guy and then move on right away. That they treated that in a very serious manner. And other than that, they didn't just go around killing everybody to say oh, isn't this so serious? Another point about this movie that I really loved, I loved the comic book feel of this. And I know I'm not the only one. I know that this has been one thing that a lot of people have enjoyed about this movie. In a lot of the Marvel movies, especially the very first ones, they tried to create these superhero movies as if they were in the real world.
Welcome to Baskin Robbins.
I'm glad this one did not even attempt to do that, and instead they were we're gonna go full-blown comic book world, where we're gonna have lots of meta-humans, and we're gonna have the giant kaiju monster that will grow bigger as it eats and stuff like that. I love that. I love that they went that direction rather than trying to make it very serious and as if this were in the real world. Okay, and then another thing that I really loved about this movie were all the problems that they introduced for Superman to overcome. I feel like they did a lot of really clever things, introducing a lot of problems that Superman could not necessarily just solve with all the powers that he had. They did not weaken him. They did not make him a weaker version of Superman. Although I have heard people say that this Superman is not at his strongest, I think because he's younger. I don't know. I haven't read the comics. But anyway, they didn't make him weaker than any other metahuman or anything, and they didn't have to make him stupid. So I think it was a very good choice for the main conflict of the movie to be Luthor attacking his reputation. because that is not something that Superman could easily solve with just his powers. So that was a good conflict. In the Superman movie, they also did use kryptonite, but they didn't use it as like the one thing that was going to take him down. And I think that the way they used it was very well done for a couple of reasons. Number one, they used the kryptonite in the Pocket universe, so they removed the yellow sun and then used the kryptonite. And then also, he was using the kryptonite to weaken him, but it was not, he wanted to kill him. He wanted him to suffer, yeah, but he didn't want to use it to kill him. And another thing is, I'm glad that they didn't have kryptonite be something that they could find all over the place. They had to have it made by this metahuman. And I hope that they don't use kryptonite, because it's kind of lazy in my opinion. I hope that they continue to come up with other more clever problems for Superman to overcome. And then also things like him trying to not kill the kaiju, like he could have taken down that monster very easily. He definitely was strong enough, but he didn't want to. He wanted to safely redirect it out of the city, making it a more difficult problem for him to solve. And then also there was that one scene where the building is falling on top of this woman's car, and he caught the building. He was strong enough to do that, obviously, but the building itself was too weak and was like crumbling apart. Superman has super strength, super speed, all these things, but there are problems that cannot necessarily be solved with just those powers. Thing number 6, they did a terrific job with side characters.
The Justice Gang.
I watched this with my siblings, and they were pointing out that they did a really good job with side characters, and they can't remember like the last movie they had seen that had side characters like this, and I realized, yeah, no, you're right. They had awesome side characters that didn't necessarily make it feel like the movie wasn't about Superman. There have been some movies where it's like, okay, the side character is kind of taking up too much time. This is supposed to be a movie about this person. They didn't do that. It was very much a Superman movie, but they did have really good side characters that really shined in this movie as well. And I think a lot of people agree that Mr. Terrific was probably the best side character. That character has gotten a lot of love from the fans. He was very fun to watch. And along with the side characters, I also really like Lois Lane. I said this before, previous versions of Lois Lane have just been really annoying, kind of like MJ, where they don't really serve much of a purpose other than to just like scream a lot, and it's really annoying.
Stop it. Get some help.
But this version of Lois Lane was awesome. I thought she was really great. Her part of the story was done really well, and I loved seeing how she and Superman were kind of opposites. The Lois Lane, she's kind of a very skeptical individual. She doesn't go around trusting everybody. She's way more cautious, and Superman is the exact opposite, where he just trusts everybody.
Why does he trust everyone?
I was afraid that they would make Lois kind of a mean character, but she wasn't. Like, yes, she was skeptical of people, but she was actually really nice. And I love that in this movie, the journalism actually meant something. The team of journalists were able to help Superman by restoring his good name and fixing his reputation after Lex Luthor tried to break it down. Love the team of journalists, love Lois. I thought that was great, and I loved that what they did had a really big and important impact on the story and in helping Superman. I think it's the best Superman movie that we have had so far. Even if James Gunn takes the DCU in a direction that I don't really enjoy, maybe if he comes up with another Superman movie that I don't like as much, I'm really glad that we got this one. Was it perfect? No. There were a couple of things that I would have changed about it, but they're kind of minor. I think this one is a very good one, very fun, and I think the Superman character was pretty much the perfect Superman. That's all I have to say about this one. Again, if you care, I'm sorry that I haven't posted in a while. That was not my plan. But I'm gonna try to get back into the schedule that I have, into being very consistent with posting. And if you haven't seen Superman, I really think you should go see it. It's actually probably not in theaters anymore, is it? If you missed it in theaters, that's a bummer. I think this might be the movie of the year. If Avatar is not the movie of the year, it's definitely gonna be a toss-up, honestly. For me, it's gonna be a toss-up between Avatar, Fire and Ash, and Superman. It should have been Mission Impossible 8, but we all know how that went down. It was really, really, really bad. If you disagree with anything that I said, and if you wanna, I don't know, defend the Christopher Reeve Superman, or correct anything that I said that may have been wrong about that, or if you wanna defend Henry Cavill Superman, don't don't do that, actually. That one was really, really bad. Let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are on this movie. And yeah, that's pretty much all that I have. Everybody get excited for Avatar Fire and Ash. That movie is going to be awesome.